Professor and former presidential candidate Larry Lessig was the subject of one of the most recent rounds of WikiLeaks released emails. In it, President for the Center for American Progress, Neera Tanden, makes clear what she thinks about Larry. She says, "I fucking hate that guy."
Well, that's clear. That's clear.
Like I'd like to kick the shit out of him on Twitter.
Even further clear.
But I know that is dumb. Oh, good.
We've got a lot of clarity
that's dumb. And then the response, I believe is from John Podesta, is an everyday American pompous law professor, which seems insulting, except in comparison to what Neera Tanden just said. So, yes, I fucking hate him. I'd like to kick the shit out of him. Yeah, kick the shit out of him on Twitter, to be fair. Yeah. So look, if you were to be targeted in that way and you were to find out that an extremely high profile supporter of Hillary Clinton had been attacking you in the midst of your attempt to have a positive impact on the Democratic primary, you would probably be pissed off. And Larry Lessig probably is on some level, but in his response, he decided to take the high road, both in terms of his inclusion in the WikiLeaks and also generally what he thinks about these leaks. So here's a few sections of the statement he released. "I'm a big believer in leaks for the public interest. That's why I support Snowden and why I believe the president should pardon him. But I can't for the life of me see the public good in a leak like this, at least one that reveals no crime or violation of any important public policy. We all deserve privacy. The burdens of public service are insane enough without the perpetual threat that every thought shared with a friend becomes Twitter fodder. Neera has only ever served in the public and public interest sector. Her work has always and only been devoted to advancing her vision of the public good. It is not right that she should bear the burden of this sort of breach." And he's saying that about the woman who just said she wants to kick the shit out of him on Twitter. So that's admirable on some level, whether we agree with him generally or not.
No, not on some level, on all levels. That is the classiest response I have ever seen.
Yeah.
My guess is my response would not be similar.
No, I don't think it would.
Okay, so but that's why he's a better guy than I am.
Yeah.
And he is principled. That's why they find him annoying. Mm-hmm. So in this case, his principle
No, that's why they fucking hate him.
Right.
Quote, fucking hate that guy. Quote.
Right. So his principle in this case is don't violate people's privacy for the sake of violating it. If there's an important public interest at hand, that's a very important leak. That's a totally different situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm torn on that principle. I want to discuss that in a second. Yeah. But first, I want you to know why they hate him. And to me, that's the core of the story and why I think maybe they should have leaked it, okay? Because Larry Lessig comes in and says, and the reason he ran for president briefly in the primaries was, we have got to get the money out of politics because it is corrupting everyone. And he never said it was Hillary Clinton or she was particularly bad. He just said it's systemic corruption and it affects everyone. He couldn't have been
He could have said she was particularly bad.
That's right, but he didn't.
He could have.
He didn't, though. He was principled, and more important than that, he was right. It is systemic corruption. It's not that Hillary Clinton is particularly evil or smells of sulfur, as these idiots on the right wing think. It isn't that Jeb Bush is a particularly demonic guy. No, the system corrupts because you get millions, in some cases billions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions, as Hillary Clinton has raised already in the cycle.
And as Lessig keeps pointing out, you're constantly on the phone with these people, in the room with these people. It becomes your culture. It becomes how you think. So those are great points about the system that they live and breathe, Neera Tanden, John Podesta, Hillary Clinton. And so when he makes points that are that good, it really gets under their skin.
Yeah.
So here's a guy they can't demonize. They can't say, oh, it's just Fox News. They know he's right, so it's hard to dismiss him. And it gets to the core of their problem.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I hate that guy.
He's expressing what they know on some level most Americans agree with.
That's
something
right.
that they probably on some level agree with but can't actually express because they're bought.
And in fact, he made them respond. If you don't remember Lessig's short but super important existence in this Democratic primary, when he came into the race, I got to be honest with you, Bernie Sanders had getting money out of politics number 9 on a list of things that were important and prioritized on his website. He moved it up to number 1 and number 2 after Lessig got into the race. Okay. Part of the reason was because it resonated and Bernie's responsive to the people. I'm not knocking him for it. I think it was great that he was responsive. Hillary Clinton hadn't said much at all about it. That's the reason Lessig entered the race. On the day that Lessig entered the race, Hillary Clinton came out with a proposal to get money out of politics. gee, I wonder if that was a coincidence. You see, they hate the guy because he makes them respond and at least pretend to care about the problem.
Wait, did she say get money out of politics, or did she say get rid of Citizens United?
Oh, of course, Citizens United, campaign finance reform, in as vague terms as she could. But it was a clear response to what Larry Lessig brought up. And they're like, oh, stop annoying us with the truth and getting under our skin like this with what our core problem is.
Yeah. So look, the core of what he's saying, and I saw on The Intercept, they had a discussion, a couple of them, about, I don't think that they mentioned Larry Lessig, but it was about this, about the ethics of what sorts of emails should be leaked and all that, because obviously they're highly in support of more transparency, even if it's through hacks. But there is a point where you get into just personal stuff. And on this, you've sort of swayed me. It does represent something, but at the end of the day, it's a person saying whether they like another person or not. And one of the things that's bothering me about some of the leaks is Neera Tanden is 120% of the way for Hillary Clinton. She doesn't like another person running against Hillary Clinton? Stop the presses. You know what? I don't think she voted for Bernie in the primary either. It's like, yeah, and I got news for you. If you were to look into Bernie's campaign staff emails, they probably didn't like Hillary Clinton all that much because it's politics and you're running against each other. And the more it is purely just a personal thing, like there was something about a recipe for risotto or something like that, what the hell is that even being leaked for? Maybe it's a really good recipe. I don't know. I'll try it out. Now, if there are policy implications, like for instance, the leaks having to do with the TPP indicating that she is being duplicitous about it and really does want the TPP, that's exactly the sort of information that people need. Or if it's something about trade policy, or I would say the speeches for Wall Street, like that's something that we've been wanting for a long time, even if the speeches ended up being pretty weak sauce. Those things think it makes perfect sense, but there should be a sense of responsibility in terms of not simply violating privacy rights just because you can. And in the discussion in The Intercept, I believe, check it to make sure, I think Glenn Greenwald said basically, at some point you can rise to the point where you are so powerful that your expectations, he might have been quoting someone, so I'm not quoting him right here, this is just an idea, that you should not have privacy expectations anymore. And the response from the person he was talking to is, that is an interesting point, and I think a lot of people would agree with it, but that is an incredibly slippery slope. And at what point do even members of the media rise to the level of powerful enough that they shouldn't have any expectation of privacy? I think that we need to balance those things. I'm not the person that should be doing it, but there needs to be a balance.
So let me just quickly go over what's easy and then what's hard. Easy is Apache helicopter video of our troops shooting first responders, people coming to rescue.
Purely hypothetical.
Okay, so now that's exactly why Chelsea Manning should not be in jail. She should be pardoned and free immediately, because that is directly related to war crimes, violation of laws, and lying to the American people. Edward Snowden revealed things where the American government was lying to us and committing illegal acts. The U.S. courts have agreed with his analysis of that at a later date. That is easy. Should be pardoned, should be free immediately. Also easy is celebrity leaks of nude pictures. It has no value. It doesn't further the conversation. It has nothing to do with our government. It has nothing to do with our democracy. So now, when you get into private emails of public figures,
would that include like Anthony Weiner?
So, well, when he was a politician, probably yes. Okay. Now, probably no, because he has no political career left. Okay. So now, and by the way, I didn't think that had a bearing on his political career, although it was super stupid.
Yeah.
Right. And that might affect your judgment on Anthony Weiner. But if you're a political public figure, your private emails, well, that's where we are, and that's a gray area.
What if you're a campaign staffer or volunteer for a public figure?
Yeah, and so what I would, so that's...
Which I have been, by the way.
Yeah, so that is where I think that it is hard to put down a hard and fast rule that, by the way, that anybody would agree to, even if we did. Okay, and then what, right? So what I would ask is, of the leakers, to be extra careful, to weed out the private emails. So And if you publish something, I know it takes longer, right? And we wish you would have done it during the primaries and not during a month before the general election.
Yeah, which not enough people are pissed off about that, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, right before the general election, that timing is super questionable. And so you have to be careful in what you leak. Make sure that it has something to do with the public good, public figures, and is very important and is illuminating. Risotto recipes do not qualify. I think it would have been fair to say this doesn't qualify. Although I did learn something.
It does have consequences. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one, honestly.
Yeah, but did we know that they were annoyed by Larry Lessig? Sure, of course. The degree to which he got under their skin? No, we didn't know that.
Yeah,
right?
I would say it would cross over into the easier to classify if it had been, I fucking hate this guy because of what he said about campaign finance reform and Hillary Clinton's stated position.
No,
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but that's obvious. That's all Larry Lessig does. It's not like he literally said, if I become president, that's the only thing I will do.
I think he went to Flint at one point. So he had other issues that he was pushing for. He's not a one-track.
He cared about voting rights because he cares about election reform. So, bottom line is, not an easy question. Larry Lessig with a classy and principled response saying, no, this should not have been leaked.
Yeah.
In essence, we read you his exact quotes. Yeah. And it's a fair argument both ways. But I think what we mainly learned from this is that the people wedded to the old system of money powering their elections, their victories, cannot get off of that system and cannot stand anyone who challenges that system.
Yeah.